Hi, my name is Malvin. I'm the group leader for Group 7, which we study on the issue of tackling racism in the United States of America. Racism that was targeted to the minorities of the country, like Black Americans and Asians, with the case study of George Floyd and the Atlanta murders being our reference. So the purpose of this video is to choose a suitable development approach to tackle or sort of relate to the issue that we study, which is racism, and our group has gone with the human rights based approach, which is a way of approaching development that sets the achievement of human rights as an objective of the development. It's a short term program objectives in the context of longer term goals. Okay, how can this development be approached? So one of the advantages of rights-based approaches is anchored on solidarity, which empowers people and enhances their capacity to improve the quality of their lives, while charity often disempowers the poor and the vulnerable. Human rights-based approaches also entails the building of community capacity for people to understand their rights, to claim their rights, and to make meaningful contribution to realizing these rights. So this suitably fits into the study that we are conducting, which is racism towards minorities in the United States of America. The HRBAP enhances transparency and accountability by public officials and consequently leads to good governance. Furthermore, the approach emphasizes accountability of those with duties or obligations, and the obligation must be constantly checked and balanced. This implies monitoring and evaluating at all levels of the project or program. It narrows down in inefficiencies and adopts effective approaches to programs or projects. The bottom line is ideas about what development should be matter. Different ways of understanding what development should improve leads to different policies and consequences. Furthermore, conflict of values and interests are common on the level of trade-offs and choices and actions to be taken. Furthermore will be explained by my group mates. Thank you.
My name is Hajar and I will explain about what had happened to the Asian American in America and why is it related to the human rights. On March 21st, 2021, it was viral on the Weibo apps that a 76-year-old Chinese grandmother who fended off an assailant by the American who threw her a hate crime by punching her across the street in downtown San Francisco. This issue makes people realize that Asians are being attacked for no reasons. There was also several reports on Asians for being assaulted in the past months. Implying to these reports, there are no definitive steps taken throughout the United States on overcoming the racial issues that the nation goes through on a daily basis. Thus, it makes the Asian Americans to stop being quiet and fight for their rights by doing revolts against the counters. This hate crime assault towards the Asian American is believed to be driven by the racist reaction to the COVID-19 pandemic that have been happening for a year now. Asian Americans have confronted racist viciousness at a lot higher rate than earlier years. The former President Trump often referred to COVID-19 as a China virus, making the hate towards Asian Americans strengthen between the minds of the American, which was expressed through their social media hate speech. Discrimination can happen to anyone, whether an individual or a group, who is treated unfairly or unjustly because of their age, gender, sexual or ethnicity preference. The tendency for whites to perceive Asian Americans as strangers or as though they don't belong in their own country, which has been related to lower levels of social belonging and life satisfaction, has been dubbed the perpetual foreigner by anti-Asian activists. People should be free from discrimination. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. The right to freedom from discrimination is recognized in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and enshrined in international human rights law through its inclusion in the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. The concept of the right to freedom from discrimination is to the concept of human rights, as human rights are the rights of all humans. That's all.
The reason why our group chose the human rights as our approaches because our topic is focused on the non-discriminations of ethnicity that link to our issue, which is racial equality of the discriminations toward ASEAN Americans in America. This human rights approaches was focuses on the problems of ethnicity that happened in America during the arrival of the coronavirus and the disseminations of COVID-19 in the United States that has coincided with an increase in racial attacks and discriminations against ASEAN in America. As we look back into our study, the reason why we specify to study about the racial and ethnic inequality in the United States is due to the aspect of racism are still affect the country in a huge way. Thus, ethnic minorities in the United States are still experiences racism on a day-to-day. Due to the rising of the hate crimes incident towards the Asian Americans, people started to take part in a rally against racism and violence in the United States as a hate started to rise due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite their vast ethnic, generational, and social contrasts, Asian Americans have discovered common view over the segregations. Here, the types of discriminations that have been reported from March until December 2020 that ASEAN people faces, which are verbal harassment, physical assault, workplace discrimination, shunning, and call. In addition, the verbal harassment is by far the most common, but shunning, physical assault, workplace discriminations being barred from establishments and vandalism also feature in the database. Mostly, the women more likely to be targeted than men.
Hello, my name is Khaitrisyia. My part, I will explain how the approach employed will affect the development program. So, the human rights-based approaches is anchored on solidarity, which empowers people and enhances their capacity to improve the quality of their lives. This means giving people greater opportunities to participate in shaping the decisions that impact on their human rights. It also means increasing the ability of those with responsibility for fulfilling rights to recognize and respect human rights. One of the most important things in this program is to eliminate racial discrimination. This approach will give them a good advantage for them to speak up and also helps them to get justice. For example, for our development program, one of the ways can be done is to elevate Asian American as American. In order to break down stereotypes and inspire people to follow an inclusive concept of American identity, elected officials and other civic leaders should welcome and make Asian American recognizable. Moreover, the society can seek and promote counter-stereotypical information through media organization. For example, the social media such as Twitter and Facebook can help spread Asian American hate crimes and educate people to promote tolerance. Nowadays, social media is a powerful tool for breaking stereotypes and encouraging diversity. As a result of this strategy, the society will be educated and the victims will get to speak up for their rights. However, legislation alone does not eliminate discrimination, so both the society and the government need to work harder at changing attitudes. In conclusion, With these human rights-based approaches, we hope it could help the society to have a better understanding and claim their rights. This is because many people still unaware and do not understand of their rights. Thank you. That's all from me.